Molweni nonke, namkelekile. Igama lam ngu-Caley. I go across Africa seeking out pioneers in the tech, leadership and creativity arena in order to delve into their minds and better understand their stories. I want to know what it takes to truly make it on this continent. Today we're talking to Roed, who is the founder and CEO of a company called Heavy Chef. In 2016, Roed left his cushy job as a digital agency CEO to step into his true passion of inspiring and empowering entrepreneurs in order to ensure that development in South Africa takes place from the ground up. In 2 short years, Fred has grown the Heavy Chef database to consist of over 20,000 entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs and graduates. Roed is an African pioneer. Thank you for being the 5th guest on African Pioneers, and we happen to be shooting in your garden, which is awesome. It's very real.
Yes.
I think as a start, give us some context on what you do at this point in time.
Sure. Thank you for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure.
I am the CEO of a platform called Heavy Chef.
Cool.
And it's essentially a platform for entrepreneurs, and we exist to inspire and empower people. We want to inspire people to start things and then empower them to succeed.
And I think the next obvious question is, why are you doing this work?
Sure, I think that's a great question. In terms of Heavy Chef's why, and also my why, why Heavy Chef exists and what we're really trying to do, we're trying to inspire people to innovate, to start new things in order for the economy to grow. So essentially, Heavy Chef exists to stimulate the entrepreneur sector in South Africa and Africa, in emerging markets, because to be clear, the problem lies in that we are woefully undercooked in terms of the entrepreneur sector and the SME, the contribution that the SME sector makes to the South African economy and also in most emerging economies. If you look at our economy, about 50% of it is contributed to by the SME sector, and whilst it sounds like a lot, it's actually not compared to a developed nation, a first world nation like you'd expect in North America or Europe. That would be my dog Knox, who wants to weigh in on the issue. In developed first world nations, you'd see that figure closer to 90%, which is where a healthy economy should be.
How you're going to go about inspiring and empowering these entrepreneurs?
So very simply, we're creating a curriculum of very agile pop-up masterclasses. We call them learning experiences, and the idea that we have is that people learn best when they're doing. So the whole concept of Heavy Chef is all about doing. It's all about eating your own food, and so we try and take that through into the education that we provide for aspiring entrepreneurs. And essentially, these masterclasses are distinctive in that they are not just lessons where just anybody kind of stands up, like an academic or somebody stands up and provides those learnings. It's the people who provide the actual presentation, the teaching, are people who they eat their own food. They're the heavy chefs. They're the guys who've dug the trenches, who've rolled up their sleeves, done their 10,000 hours. So we're trying to get the most inspiring people on the planet to come and provide what they know and share what they know to our community.
What is your highest point of innovation within these learning experiences?
Sure. I mean, the bottom line is that it's agile. We're not stuck to a building. We're not stuck to an institution. We're mobile. We can do our learning pretty much anywhere in the world. We're creating a model that's replicable in any setting, in any country, anywhere across the globe. And so with that in mind, all you really need is the structure, which we're, there's a lot of detail in that structure, which, takes a lot of time to set that system in place, put it in place, and we've got a tech layer behind it as well, which helps us to be just really nimble and move very quickly on the opportunities that we have. And what we've done is we've created a platform that makes it really easy for the heavy chefs out there to come in and share of their wisdom, their time, their energy and their resources.
I think it's fair to say that you yourself are a heavy chef. You're onto your third entrepreneurial venture. I know that if people read your book, they will see that the first entrepreneurial venture was not the easiest of times. You picked a very challenging niche, that of helping kids with special needs at the age of 26, right? And you sat on the board for autism at the age of 27. The board for
chairman of Autism Western Cape.
Yes.
Age of 27.
Yes, at the age of 27, and I think very, very, very brave to take on that role at the age of 27. Yeah, but it's okay. So, and after that, you ran a digital marketing agency for 15 years, which you grew into one of the most iconic agencies in South Africa. And you stepped out 2 years ago to pursue Heavy Chef as a full-time project.
That's right.
So I think it's fair to say that you yourself are a heavy chef. Although you own the platform Heavy Chef, you're a heavy chef. So with that in mind, I would like to ask you for core lessons that you would like to provide the emerging entrepreneurs that are actually coming through your creation, for lack of a better word.
Sure. Look, there's several that comes to mind, and I would be remiss not to start with the first one, which would be eat your own food. I mean, I think be a heavy chef. So in a world of talkers, I truly believe it's the doers that are going to change it. I think that, we are so riddled and beset by fears of the unknown and that which does not exist, that I think it's important that we test that fear. We test those assumptions that there's a wolf around every corner. And I think the truth is actually often doesn't exist. And often, if you take the chance, if you actually give it a shot, you'll find that it can be extremely rewarding. And I think from that perspective, be a doer, be somebody who eats his own food. Don't be a talker. Be somebody who actually rolls up their sleeves and gets stuck in.
Great.
I think that's the only way to really succeed in this day and age where things are changing so quickly.
100%.
I think the second lesson, certainly that I've picked up from my own experience, as well as that I've heard pretty much everybody on the Heavy Chef stage repeat so often, is surround yourself with smart people. Really kind of try and pick your crew wisely, because I think so many people have repeated the saying that you're the sum total of the 5 people closest to you. I think that's true in business. You really do need to discern who you would like to bring into battle with you, because it is a battle. It is really something that you're likely to fail, and so if you're going into battle, make sure that you've got the right people in the front line next to you. I think that a third lesson for me, particularly, and something that's quite pertinent to me, is stick to what you're good at. I think if you try, and this is it's the temptation of pretty much every entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs are pretty resourceful. They're pretty scrappy. They're pretty smart. And they back themselves, they often back themselves. So they will see a problem, they'll see something in front of them, and they'll just tackle it themselves, because, if you want to get something done right, do it yourself. And that's not the truth. The fact is, what that is the enemy of innovation. It's the enemy of scale. And I think what you're going to find is, if you try and do everything yourself, you're going to fail, because you just don't have the time, energy, and you're just going to fizzle out. And you're going to end up doing a lot of things very average, rather than than really well.
So can we end off this piece giving advice to guys that are in early stage startups now?
Yeah, I think, I mean, that's a great question. It's a very tough question, but it's an important question. I mean, I think, I don't want to be too specific, but what I will say is that I would advise people to have a sort of boundless curiosity and followed by, put it this way, start with boundless curiosity and finish with relentless focus. I think the key thing is it's kind of like you throw the net out and you bring it in, you know what I mean? So you throw it out as wide as possible, look at opportunities, really just kind of ask as many questions of the status quo as you can. But then I would then advise strongly to pick one thing and really get good at one thing. It's so tempting in this day and age to do too many things. And I think even if you start with one thing, you know, you immediately get tempted by the opportunities that come your way to start layering and layering and layering. And instead of becoming more successful, you're going to get as this big giant lump of messy pattern, you know, and rather have something that's focused and beautiful. And I think that's the key thing. What Josh Waitzkin says is rather, you know, in his experience, those are the guys that are the easiest to beat because he knows that he is the best in the world in a small circle. And he says, try and be the best in the world in a small circle. Within a small area, be the best in the world. So, you know, if somebody comes at him with fly kicks and punches and all these kind of weird, wild movements, you know, for him it's easy to deflect because he's got his radius where he is the master, you know, and try and be the master in that small circumference whereby you can own that space and be the best. You can be the monopoly in that space.